hopefully we have all of our technical issues resolved. And if that is the case, then ladies and gentlemen, this is Brazil versus Switzerland. Here, the live commentary. Not going to have the actual matchup. So we'll make sure we have everything sorted out. The actual match, if you're here in the United States, can be seen on Fox. That's for the English language broadcast, and it can be seen on Telemundo for the Spanish language broadcast. But again, that is where you're going to have to see those at. So put my device around. Actually, I cannot do that. So see how long this sticks here. I may just be able to hold my phone. Let me just a second to grab a pen here, and we'll be all set to go as both teams are getting ready to retake the pitch for the second half. Switzerland are wearing their traditional red, predominantly red uniforms. And meanwhile, Brazil are in their famous yellow jerseys. Brazil, of course, are playing without their star, Neymar, who is likely going to be out for the remainder of the group stages with an ankle injury. He sustained that in their opening win against Serbia. Brazil won 2-0 courtesy of 2 goals from Richarlison. Just about set here. And we're just about set to begin the second half at Stadium 974 in Doha. Again, if you are watching here in the United States for the English language broadcast, that can be seen on Fox National. Spanish language broadcast can be viewed currently on Telemundo. And we'll have this broadcast as well, at least the live commentary. We'll have everything else up afterwards. As Switzerland's manager Murat Yakin makes a few notes. Alisson and Thiago Silva, who skippers Brazil once again at this World Cup, they lead their team back out onto the field. Looks like a quick huddle for at least the few Brazilian players that haven't taken to the pitch yet. No score again right now between Switzerland and Brazil. Switzerland began their World Cup campaign with a 1-0 win over Cameroon. So currently where things stand in this group, after the enterprising draw that we saw early this morning between Cameroon and Serbia, the winner of this group would clinch their spot in the knockout rounds. And they would be just the second team to do so far in this tournament, with the reigning world champions France being the other. Brazil are set to make a change here to start the second half. Lucas Paquetá will make way. It's going to be Rodrigo who will come on now for Brazil as esports number 21. We'll see if it's a like-for-like switch from the Brazilian manager Chiche. Brazil rolling with more of a 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1 for Switzerland. Second half is underway at Stadium 974 in Doha. It's a stadium that was comprised in its original construction of 974 shipping containers. At the end of the tournament, the stadium itself, or at least large quantities of it anyway, will be taken apart and shipped off to developing nations to be used for other purposes. That's seemingly been a theme throughout this World Cup, that the Qatari organizers have wanted to make this a sustainable event, maybe not so much for Qatar, but for other countries as well. Brazil enjoyed a lion's share of the possession in the first half, but didn't really carve out too many clear-cut opportunities. Thiago Silva on the ball now for Brazil. He wears the captain's armband tonight, just as he has at the previous 2 World Cups. It's Vinicius of Real Madrid who goes on a run, but in the end the flag is up on the far side. He can be so dangerous. Just ask Liverpool as he scored the winner in the Champions League final in suburban Paris last May. But again, Brazil are playing without Neymar and Danilo tonight, both due to ankle injuries. Manchester United's Antony is available on the bench. There was some question as he has been battling an illness, we're told. Here's Richarlison, just outside the box. Richarlison's cross is headed away. Embolo tracks back for Switzerland and he draws a foul. As Breel Embolo comes up with his palms raised, not sure if that's meant to the referee as if to say, where's the yellow card, or if that's towards Thiago Silva as if to say, why'd you do that? Embolo scored in Switzerland's opener against Cameroon, the only goal. There was a rather wholesome moment as Embolo, who was born in Cameroon, elected not to celebrate against the indomitable Lions. His goal, the only of that day. Will he be the goal scorer here? And if so, will he be the only? Switzerland with it once more. It's going to be a Swiss throw-in as Nico Elvedi wins that throw off of Rodrigo. About 2.5 minutes gone here in the second half. Earlier results today. There's once again 4 games going on here at the World Cup today. The morning started out, Switzerland win a foul right by the touchline there. As Ruben Vargas was rather unceremoniously bundled over by Eder Militao of Brazil. The day started with the other game in this group. It was Cameroon who battled back to get a hard-earned point, and one that was actually necessary for them. Or at least in all likelihood would have been necessary, as they managed to secure a 3-3 draw with Serbia. Cameroon will be Brazil's next opponent on the final day of match play in Group G. It will be Switzerland versus Serbia. Switzerland have progressed to the knockout stage in each of the last 4 major tournaments, World Cup and European Championships alike. As if that match wasn't entertaining enough, we saw Ghana take a 2-0 lead over South Korea. South Korea, to their credit, bounced back to make it 2-2, but ultimately the Ghanaians would go on to win by a 3-2 scoreline, a reverse of their 3-2 loss against Portugal in the opener. So now Group H is very much interesting, with Cristiano Ronaldo set to go head-to-head with Luis Suarez potentially in the final game of the group. We'll try to keep it here for that. Hopefully all works out for that. And again, if you have any questions, comments, feel free to enter in the chat. We'll try to get to as many of them as possible. And also, don't be afraid to share. Helps me out, helps the channel out as we try to grow in my career, as well as grow this channel. This is Fred of Manchester United for Brazil. Fred goes with a long diagonal switch. It's Vinicius who does bring it down. Vinicius throwing. As that was Sylvain Widmer of Switzerland who conceded it, and now a free kick as well. That time it was Ruben Freuler. Or actually, instead, I beg your pardon, that's going to be Fabian Rieder, excuse me. Oh, and he rather caught Rodrigo there. Inadvertent elbow. That is, of course, something that the VAR could check, but I'd think they'd have a hard time upgrading the yellow card that Rieder did receive to a red. So just update that here in my notes. Hacked clear there by Switzerland, throw-in for Brazil. There has only been 1 red card shown in this tournament. Seems like a never-ending parade of yellows in some of these games, but only 1 red. And that was to a goalkeeper, ironically. Wayne Hennessy of Wales, who is suspended for their game tomorrow against England, a game that Wales have to win to have any hope of staying in the competition. And in that very same group, Group B, it's the same storyline for the United States. They have to win against Iran to remain in the World Cup. For the Iranians, a draw, same thing with England, would allow them to progress. Free kick now for Switzerland as they try to break out. It was Djibril Sow, the center attacking midfielder for Switzerland, who was clipped there by Fred. Wonder what Fred might think of the situation at Manchester United. He picks up a yellow card as well, but mentioned a little bit later today that we'll see Cristiano Ronaldo in Portugal. Well, we know Ronaldo won't be returning to Manchester United as they've agreed to terminate his contract with immediate effect. It will certainly be a different situation when they return post-World Cup under first-year manager Erik ten Hag. Reports even linking Ronaldo to a move perhaps to Saudi Arabia with Al Nassr, said to be a lucrative offer on the table. He's on the move, and so could Lionel Messi be as well, with reports saying that he's close to a deal with Inter Miami, although it seems though those reports have been out there for quite some time. That's a good cross. Could be something here for Switzerland. Back across and a good interception. I believe that's Thiago Silva still loose in the box. And ultimately, Brazil managed to get it clear. Well, that was a moment of worry there for Brazil. As for Switzerland, they came forward, and it was Widmer who struck across, a low across there, and could have presented Brazil one or two problems. Ultimately, though, Brazil have managed to escape. We've already seen a very high quantity of scoreless draws so far in this World Cup. I believe the tally stands currently at 5. It seems like a lot of ties throughout this World Cup. Now then, Embolo will play it wide here, runs in the box for Switzerland. The shot deflected, corner. It was Vargas. Vargas tried to cut inside on his right foot, deflected out. But now in the 54th minute, Switzerland with a great opportunity. Again, winner here progresses to the last 16, even before their final match of the group. Corner from the far side. It's the third so far for Switzerland. 4 so far for Brazil. Vargas to take, and in it comes, punched away by Alisson. But then headed back in Ricardo Rodriguez, and then it was Akanji, the center back Manuel Akanji, who sent it goalwards, but Alisson, no real problems there for the Liverpool shot stopper. And Brazil right back in possession as well. It's been an open tempo to the game. Cross attempt mishit, and an apology being issued. Switzerland gets set to make a change. It's going to be Edmilson Fernandez, as well as Renato Steffen, who look set to be introduced for the Swiss. More on that when that happens. Remember, 5 substitutions available for each team in this tournament. Overhead pass, and it will be a goal kick now for Switzerland, as Alex Sandro, the left back, couldn't quite find, I believe it was Rodrigo, that he was trying to connect with. And just by the initial pictures here, it does seem as though it's a very pro-Brazilian crowd, as it just about always is. Of course, their fans travel extremely well, and why not, to go see the most successful ever team in the history of the competition. But they also, it's been noted, have a very significant following from other nations around the world. Well, now that Alisson's got himself into a little bit of trouble, and Bolo had pressured him. There was no foul. Casemiro comes away with it in the end for Brazil. Now then, can Brazil spark something from this? There's a chance to cross. It's Rodrigo. Back across for Charleston. Oh, and he couldn't quite get to it for what would have been his 3rd goal of the tournament. It was a delightful delivery across. And it was actually the 20 of Vinicius rather than the 21 of Rodrigo down that left-hand side. Well, Switzerland nearly caught Brazil on one end with Embolo. And in the end, they were left hoping and praying on the other end. Well, apologies for that. You never know what's going to happen during a live broadcast, as I am doing this on my phone. Became my best option. But as we return to live action here, Vidmer concedes a throw-in for Brazil. About 15 yards or so from the corner flag. Another Brazilian throw-in. As that time it deflects off of Reeder. Mentioned that the Swiss have progressed to the last 4 knockout stages at major tournaments. They're hoping to make it a 5th here today, and they could do that with a win over Brazil. Now both teams are set to make changes. For Brazil, Fred is going to make way, and he's going to be replaced by Bruno Guimarães. Roy's number 17, 58th minute substitution. And the 2 substitutions that I mentioned a moment ago for Switzerland, as Renato Steffen is going to come in. But first we'll see the substitution for Edmilson Fernandez, who will take the place of Ruben Vargas. And Reeder will also come out to be replaced by the aforementioned Steffen. So both teams now have made 2 substitutions. They still have 3 available to them as we approach the hour mark in Doha. Top spot in Group G and a place in the knockout stages is at stake. No score as of yet between Brazil and Switzerland. Richarlison tries to get on the end of that. He got a piece of it, but couldn't quite maintain possession. Here is Fernandez, the substitute with his first touch, and right on cue, he's fouled almost immediately with a push in the back. So he gets up with a rather bemused look. Just have to say what I do to earn that. Just come on the pitch. Well, it's a fantastic Brazilian support. The Swiss are trying everything they can do, as they normally have a very passionate following at major tournaments. Manuel Akanji. Switzerland made it all the way to the quarterfinals of the European Championships a little over a year ago. Referee says play on here as one of the Brazilian players hit the deck, and now then could be something here for Switzerland. This is Freuler. Rather cuts inside. That's a layoff. A chance. Fernandez lays it off. Still maybe a chance in the end as Embolo couldn't get there. Well, Brazil have had a little bit more to be worried about. It's coming back again. Chance perhaps for one more cross. Fernandez. And Fernandez is blocked. It'll go out for a Swiss throw-in. And the point that I was about to make, they went to 2 penalty shootouts. Switzerland did at the last Euros. And remember, they did knock out reigning world champions France. They had a 1-0 lead. The French scored 3 unanswered, thought that they were home clear, but it was Switzerland who scored 2 goals in quick succession and wound up winning that one on penalties. Akanji, who scored a penalty in that game, missed one in the quarterfinal, commits a foul there with a little over an hour gone. At Stadium 974, certainly a creative stadium concept with the shipping container theme. Ronaldo's already played there once. The other Ronaldo, Brazilian Ronaldo, 2-time world champion, is in attendance today for Brazil. At least presumably he's supporting Brazil. Vinicius. Vinicius now lays it off. Rodrigo's cross blocked. Switzerland attempted to get it away. It will be a throw-in, though, for the Swiss. I mentioned Ronaldo's 2 World Cup titles. He played more of a reserve role, believe it or not, in 1994 for that World Cup, in which they won the final at the Rose Bowl, defeated Italy on penalties back in 1994. 1998 was the curious case of Ronaldo. They made it all the way to the final before being defeated by the hosts France 3-0 as passes over hit Sommer will pick that off for Switzerland. There was skepticism about whether Ronaldo would play in that final, as he was battling an illness, we're told. Ultimately was deemed clear to play, but was not his usual self, and Brazil were not their usual selves, as France took them apart 3-0, but they bounced back in a major way in 2002 in the first co-hosted World Cup between South Korea and Japan. As they wound up going all the way that year, Ronaldo scored twice in the final against Germany. Throw in now for Switzerland on that far side, right around the halfway line. But you won't have to remind any Brazilian fan of this. They haven't won the World Cup since then. It's 20 years. It's a lifetime of wait for most fans, including that of Switzerland, who wait on for their first World Cup title. Fernandez unable to catch up to that ball as it was a crossfield switch from Akanji, who raises his hand to apologize. But for Brazil, a 20-year wait for the World Cup is an eternity, and they haven't played in the final yet either in that time span. And no Brazilian, no matter how many World Cups they win, could surely ever forget the pain sustained 8 years ago when they were thumped in the semifinals by Germany 7-1. Interestingly enough, they were without Neymar that day due to a back injury that he sustained in the quarterfinal against Colombia. But now then, hold on here, Brazil, plenty of space on this near side. It's Vinicius. Vinicius is behind here. Vinicius has scored for Brazil. Brazil won up here. Are they headed for the last 16? Switzerland fell asleep here on this near side. They lost it in midfield. Brazil were clever to get it to Vinicius. He made one defender miss, and he rolled it under Sommer. And it's Brazil 1. It's Switzerland 0. That's classic Brazil at the World Cup. So cool in his finish. Vinicius, one of the rising stars of Brazilian football, and that's saying quite a bit. One of the rising stars for Real Madrid, and anywhere in the world for that matter, has his first World Cup goal. As he managed to get away from Nico Elvedi and roll it underneath a despairing Sommer. And it's Brazil 1, Switzerland 0, and Brazil are on the cusp of the second round. It looks like we have a VAR check, though, so hold the phone. I didn't see anything in there to suggest that the goal should be disallowed. But the referee is in communication with the video assistant referee crew. It's offside! The goal has been disallowed! Oh my goodness! Brazil have a goal chalked off. The VAR says offside, and apparently that happened around the halfway mark. Well, this World Cup has had plenty of twists and turns, and Switzerland came back the other way. Not sure if that was intended to be a cross or a shot. I think it's offside anyway. Well, VAR is the new theme of the game. As Vinicius denied. I still have yet to really see a definitive angle. Remember, they do have that new technology that they've been placing inside each match ball to speed up an offside call, rather. It didn't exactly speed things up there, but there wasn't a need to go to the monitor. I'll be interested to see what that angle tells us here when that information does come in. 67th minute. Are we to have a goal? Now that suddenly becomes a pretty prudent question. Again, thank you so much for joining here for this live commentary between Brazil and Switzerland. If you're just joining us, don't see we have anybody on the stream right now, but again, this will be up on my YouTube channel a little bit later. Scoreless between Brazil and Switzerland, but we thought, for everything, that there was a Brazilian goal. They thought so as well. It was chalked off. Now we're getting a look at the replay. So it was in the build-up, and they're saying that Richarlison was offside. Okay. And Richarlison did play a part in that, so somewhat subjective. Yeah, actually, no, it's not, as it looks like Richarlison did get part of the ball there. So it is the right call. Look, VAR and the new technology being used in several areas of the game has had its trial and error, no question, but ultimately it helps us get the right call. Here is Vinicius. Vinicius looks like he might get the better of Akanji. Was he fouled? The referee's given it. It's just outside the box, just to the left of the penalty area. Hands on the head of Manuel Akanji. It looked like there was a push in the back. It's just outside. As Stefan gets right in the official's face to protest in the defense of his teammate. Didn't appear to be any legitimate question as to whether or not it was in the box or out. That is something the VAR can look at, though. But nothing to suggest that they will. Just over 20 minutes to go in Doha. Can Brazil create something from this set piece? Again, the winner advances to the knockout rounds, which is quite the luxury to have with still a group stage game to go. It is swung in near post, and it's a good header. I believe Akanji was the one that beat Marquinhos to it for Switzerland. Brazil do maintain possession, though, but only for a moment, but they do get it back. Chance to cross, and it does come. It's flicked on to the back post, and that will roll out. And is the flag coming up, or is it a goal kick? Or are they going to call it a corner? No, goal kick. Whether it was offside or goal kick is irrelevant. Now then, that's a bad pass there by Widmer, and it could have been problematic for Switzerland. They do give it away, though. Chance perhaps to cross, rolled in, it's ricocheted away, and now flicked away, and here comes Switzerland with a chance to break, as Embolo serves as the outlet. Now Embolo goes on his run. He doesn't have a ton of support up there at the moment. He does play it wide, though, for Fernandez. And a chance for the Swiss defense to get a little bit of respite. Widmer. Stefan. Here is Freuler now. For Stefan again, Widmer. Switzerland are preparing a substitution. It's going to be Michel Abicher who will come on. We'll see who exactly he replaces. We should know the answer to that any moment now. Embolo tried to flick that one into the path, I believe, of Granit Xhaka. But now then, it's Vinicius who's found space in behind Widmer. Vinicius, Richarlison, it's blocked. And Breel Embolo's had to track all the way back to help cover defensively. Stefan helps win the loose ball. And Switzerland survive a scare. They narrowly survived with the assistance of the VAR just a short time ago. Ricardo Rodriguez. Rodriguez again, who has served in the past as Switzerland's captain. Nice little hold up there by Rafinha. Again, Brazil are without their star man, Neymar, for at least today, and in all likelihood, their final group match against Cameroon. But now then, Richarlison, pass was just a bit too heavy, and Sommer, anyone will do. Switzerland are beginning to have to drop a little bit deeper and deeper defensively. They haven't appeared necessarily galvanized after the disallowed goal. Sometimes we see that serve as a little bit of a momentum swing. It hasn't really done much to deter the Brazilians, who come again here. Chance to cross, and it was knocked away. It was Elvedi who managed to turn that one away at the near post as Brazil gets set to make a pair of substitutions before their throw-in. One of them is Gabriel Jesus, who will come on. He is more of a natural center forward. Richarlison will make way. He scored 2 goals in their opener, Richarlison. Nothing tonight against Switzerland. He did come very close, though, on one occasion. And Antony is going to be the other substitution. There was a report that he may not be available today. It's been reported that he's been battling an illness, but deemed match fit. And I believe, I didn't see a number, but I believe it's Rafinha that he replaced. Vinicius. His cross comes in. He was looking, I believe, for Jesus. It's Marquinhos now of PSG. Neymar's club teammate there. Antony, his first involvement. Antony's cross. Headed away there by Elvedi. Marquinhos tries to keep it alive. His header, though, only finds. That was Stefan Embolo, though, tries to keep possession, but he can't do so. And once again, Brazil come right back with possession. Vinicius tries to go around his man. Vinicius cannot get away there from Widmer, but it is a throw-in for Brazil. A quick note, though, on Stefan for Switzerland. There's no indication that, at least I have anyway, that he's related to Zach Steffen of the United States. As Renato Steffen of Brazil brought on as a substitute. Zach Steffen, the American goalkeeper, stunningly really left off the squad, although the U.S. haven't necessarily regretted that decision as of yet. Hopefully they don't when they go into their must-win game tomorrow to try to stay in the competition. That will be against Iran, as Switzerland now are getting set to make a pair of substitutions. I alluded to the one for Michel Abicher a moment ago. They're also going to bring on Haris Seferovic, their veteran striker. And Bolo will make way, so like Richarlison, found the back of the net in their first game, unable to do so here. Djibril Sow, the other substitution. So as they both make way, just under a quarter of an hour remaining in Doha, where currently Switzerland and Brazil are playing out a scoreless draw. Free kick for Brazil. Floated in, back post, nothing doing there as that one was well overhit, and some nervous-looking Brazilian fans. Even with a point, both these two teams would still be 3 points clear of Serbia and Cameroon. But of course, for Brazil, it's not about going through, it's about winning the World Cup. That's their expectation every time out. They've done it 5 times previously. Their women's team will be hoping to do so for the very first time in Australia and New Zealand this summer. They'll be hoping to remove the crown from the head of the United States, who have won each of the last 2 editions of the Women's World Cup. Hope to have quite a bit of content up on the channel about that World Cup as well, which will be in the usual World Cup time frame in the summer. Again, the winner here advances to the last 16. A draw would still be a good result, I think, especially for Switzerland. Heading into their last game against Serbia If results hold on goal differential, Brazil will hold top spot in the group as they defeated Cameroon 2-0 compared to the 1-0 result at Brazil beat Serbia 2-0 compared to the 1-0 win that Switzerland recorded over Serbia last time out. That was on Thanksgiving Day. Wonder if Richarlison got an extra slice of turkey for scoring one of the goals of the tournament. He deserved it. Well, who will take a bite out of the competition here? Now then, good ball. Is it too much? It is. That's been the story. Brazil have done a lot of huffing and puffing, but unless you count that goal that was disallowed, they haven't really overly tested the veteran goalkeeper Jan Sommer in goal for Switzerland. So we go into the 79th minute. It's a darting run from Antony. Did he win a free kick? He did. And he's immediately claiming it should be a yellow card against Ricardo Rodriguez. I don't think he's going to get it. But Antony, who had run all the way out of bounds, I think he was getting back to it. So maybe he had a case. But it is a promising free kick position for Brazil. They had to score twice in the second half against Cameroon. The proprietor, though, of both of those goals is Richarlison, and he's on the bench. The assistant referee on that far side is continuing to back Brazil up a little bit closer to the touchline. Well, now drilled in, and nobody for Brazil was able to get there. Bounced right over the 6-yard box. And in the end, it was fielded almost like a shortstop there by Jan Sommer. He was the hero of their penalty shootout at the European Championships about a year and a half ago against France when they won there in Romania that night. Widmer, Stefan elects to play it centrally. It's Granit Xhaka, the Arsenal man who's been relatively quiet, at least in this second half. Fernandez, the substitute, looking for the run of Rodriguez as they tried to work a 1-2 down that left-hand side, but it ultimately proved to not be fruitful. Just over 10 minutes plus stoppage time remaining. Will either of these two teams grab a winner? We don't, from the neutral perspective, want to see another scoreless draw in the tournament. We've already seen plenty of those. It is worth mentioning, though, that really a lot of the scoreless draws have been end-to-end. And have been the sorts of games where, on a different day, might have seen 2 or 3 goals. Don't necessarily feel that way about this one, though, but here is Antony. Antony cuts inside on his left foot. Plays square. Casemiro. It should be a corner here for Brazil. And it is. And in the 81st minute, the Seleção have a late chance. As their head coach Chiche talks things over. Didn't notice this, but in terms of legendary company, Ronaldo's not alone. He's joined by fellow World Cup winning Brazilians Roberto Carlos and Cafu. Cafu was the captain who last hoisted the trophy for Brazil in 2002. It's a good in-swinging ball. It's punched away, headed back in, but straight at Sommer. As it was Guimaraes who tried to get there, I think with an underhanded flip. I'd have to look at the replay, but it looked like it was just scooped out there by Sommer, and he nearly had Switzerland going on a break, but Aebischer couldn't get there. It is a throw-in for the Swiss, however. As their manager, Murat Yakin, barks out instructions from his technical area. If results hold, both of these two teams would only need a point from their last games to qualify. Akanji, Widmer now, tries to tuck it through, but ultimately can't. Guimaraes did well, And now then, here come Brazil with a chance perhaps to counter. It's opening up a little bit here. Switzerland have to be careful every time they go forward. They've looked a little bit vulnerable here at the back. Antony, Guimaraes, Marquinhos now. The center back's pushed quite a bit forward. It's with Vinicius. Vinicius cutting inside. Vinicius lays off. It's in! I looked away for just a moment, but there it is. It's Casemiro, and I don't think they'll be taking that away. Switzerland held on and held on, but barring assistance from the VAR, their resistance has been broken. And it's another of the Real Madrid contingent. It's Casemiro. It's 1-0 Brazil. 83rd minute. That's what they've been waiting for. Fantastic football. And it was just a smash on the half volley. Or not even on the volley. It checked up. And Sommer was a spectator, just like so many others in the ground were. Oh, it was deflected. It was deflected. I didn't notice that initially. Off of Akanji. I took a look down to check on the stream here. Big mistake. It glanced off Manuel Akanji. And for Switzerland, that was all that was necessary. Well, the scenes around the stadium have shifted significantly now. A couple of other World Cup winners, Kaká as well, accompanied by Cafu. They celebrate. Just a 6th goal for Brazil in 67 appearances. But he'd be hard-pressed to find one more significant than that Casemiro. Well, even though ultimately they did wind up going behind, not just for the fact that it would be 2-0 versus the 1-0 scoreline that currently stands, at least for Switzerland, that VAR review that disallowed Vinicius his goal earlier presumably will add more time to the impending second half stoppage time as Brazil are prepared to make a change. Couldn't quite see a number as he was surrounded by a number of the Brazilian coaches receiving his final instructions. It's not the Samba, but they're jumping up and down. Those in yellow. I think they wanted a corner, but they don't get it. It is a goal kick for Switzerland. These two teams played in the opening game, or in their opener at least, in Russia 4 years ago. Switzerland carelessly give it away there, as it was Abishar that tried to lay it off, but was unsuccessful in finding Widmer. And Widmer, that's his last involvement, as he is going to be replaced by Fabian Frey, who appears to be going a little bit up the pitch. There's a young Swiss fan with his fingers crossed. Maybe he's trying to wish a little bit of luck, not just to his team, but to Frey in particular. And a substitution as well for Brazil, as they bring on Alex Telles. Now then, Antony, Brazil could put it away here. Antony just to the right of the penalty area, now drifting in. Antony still with it. Eventually 3 red shirts. It's a scramble for the ball. Rodriguez was doubled over it. He finally does manage to get it clear. Now then, Switzerland try to break, but that pass is cut out. And then a good step up, and it'll be a free kick for Brazil. The referee, I think, has said to play on as Brazil still have it. Now then, Brazil are searching on for the ceiling goal. Chance perhaps. It's a good shot. Good save. Sommer parries over. And that kept Switzerland in the contest. Brazil searched for the goal that would clinch it. in their spot in the last 16. They just might have it here. Antony tried to curl it, but he couldn't quite get his foot around it. As from the right side of the penalty area, he tried to wrap it with his left foot. That substitution, by the way, that brought Tejas into the game. And Alexandro come off, so a defense-minded substitution for Brazilian manager Chiche. But Switzerland again with a misplaced pass, and it's going to be another throw-in for Brazil. And now all of a sudden, the live standings in Group G shift dramatically. Brazil won't win the group tonight, even if this result holds, but they'll have clinched their spot in the second round. They've advanced to the knockout rounds in every World Cup. As Nico Elvedi commits a foul, and Brazil's chances of going through with that get just that much better. As Gabriel Jesus draws the foul, he was tugged. Just over 2 minutes plus stoppage time left in Doha. If the results do hold, Brazil would still only need a draw, but this time to win the group. A draw could still suffice potentially for Switzerland. They would still be in control of their own destiny. It's possible, though, with a draw that they could still go through, provided that Cameroon don't manage to defeat Brazil by a fairly substantial number. Free kick ultimately comes to nothing. Nobody really making that run at the back post. It was too close to Sommer, who elected to try to keep it in, but Brazil extend their press. And now there's trouble here. It's nearly given away. Sommer's going to have to just pick it up. Now then, Brazil are claiming that that should be a back pass. I'm not 100% sure. They don't have a case. Antony, though. Brazil are pressing on like it's still 0-0. Antony trying to get through a double team. There's a melee on that far side. In the end, the referee has blown his whistle, and I think he's going to give a free kick to the Swiss as we go into the 90th minute. No, actually, he's giving it the other way. It's Brazil. And just a chance for Brazil to take the air out of the ball a little bit more. So beg your pardon on that. He didn't give a signal. Obviously, as you can probably tell, I'm not in Qatar. Commentating over my feed here. So I presume that the camera just cut away as the referee had made his signal. Guimaraes takes it short. It's Antony trying to just lure a couple of Swiss defenders out of the area. But it didn't work, but at least for Brazil, the silver lining is that they can hold possession. But of course, announcer's curse, they've given it away. Boy, it was Fry that tried to hold it up there and await more support there for Switzerland, but he never quite got that, or at least didn't in time. 6 minutes added on. That seems like it's on the light end of what we've seen for stoppage time in this World Cup. But again, Switzerland just cannot find anybody in the attacking third. Xhaka with a rather hopeful ball in behind. That Alisson waits a couple of seconds before eventually picking it up. And it is going to be a, well, shouldn't say goal kick. Friendly reminder, Iran versus USA. It's the final game of the group, final game of the day. And could it be the final game of the US's World Cup run? If they don't win tomorrow, it will be. Free kick for the Swiss. Again, these two teams faced off in their opener in Russia 4 years ago, and it was Switzerland who managed to pull out a draw on that occasion. It was 1-1. Can they find a dramatic late equalizer here to greatly improve their chances of reaching the knockout stage for a 5th consecutive major tournament? Looked partially clear. Going up for it was Casemiro, whose goal currently stands as the winner. Akanji now for Switzerland. Gets it back from Elvedi. Manuel Akanji looking forward, but he just isn't seeing any enticing options. Xhaka presents himself for Elvedi. Switzerland need to start to get into the box, and it does come. Header away there by Thiago Silva. Out for a Swiss throw, rather. Steffen takes it quickly, just over 2 minutes gone. Rodriguez, and it comes, it swung away. Now that knocked down all. Brazil may have a break here. Vinicius, there's a man over. It's 2 against 1. Chance to seal it. Oh, but Vinicius' touch gets away from him. Well, Switzerland were nearly put to bed on that one. But they still have a little bit of hope. Vinicius' wait for a World Cup goal goes on, but Brazil have a free kick. As I believe that's Guimaraes who was tripped up there. And it was. The second half substitute wins another free kick for the Brazilians. Casemiro, his shot was deflected off of Akanji, but it was sweetly struck. And I think even with the presence of Akanji, even had it not have deflected off of him, Sommer's vision was obstructed, but now then, Brazil the chance! Brazil blocked! Akanji, oh, it came so quick after the replay. It was Rodrigo off the layoff from Vinicius. Thiago Silva, it was a clever layoff. And Sommer was going down to his left. Unless the legs of Sommer would have saved them, it would have been 2-0 Brazil. It would have been game, set, match. But it was a corner for Brazil, and they like to go short just to try to maintain possession. 2 minutes of the minimum 6 remaining here at Stadium 974 in Doha, Qatar. Brazil 1, Switzerland 0. Here they come again. Vinicius tried to get around Akanji, who, to be fair to him, really couldn't do anything about the goal. But now then, an attempted clearance has been ricocheted back for Vinicius. Again, it's Akanji, and then Vinicius tries a Rabona for a cross. It is kept alive here by Brazil as they slow things down with another 90 seconds plus however much the referee intends to add on to come. And Brazil are doing a good job of just playing keep away. Vinicius, 2 Swiss defenders over there, they get it back, but only momentarily, and it will be a throw-in here for Brazil. As Chiche, their manager, watches on. Same story for his counterpart from Switzerland, Marat Yakin. We've had just a little over 5 minutes of the minimum 6. An attempted back heel that ricochets off the substitute Fernandez, who rolls his eyes because he knows he couldn't really do anything about that. And he knows Brazil are just going to continue to eat time off the clock. At least another 30 seconds or so left. Brazil just holding it down by the corner flag. Manchester City's... Oh, the name escaped me for just a moment, but it's Gabriel Jesus as they tried to come away with it. Switzerland, but just not even options up there. Not too many as it is. Just seconds remaining. Referee, look at the watch. He blows his whistle. It's before the 6 minutes. Brazil had the ball anyway, so no real complaints from Switzerland. Brazil, it's the same old story. The only nation to have appeared at all now 22 World Cups have advanced past the first round 22 times. Remarkable. Brazil keep a clean sheet for the second consecutive game as it finishes here at the Stadium 974 in Doha. Brazil 1, Switzerland 0. Brazil are through to the second round. Switzerland will have to earn their way in for their game during their game against Serbia later in the week. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off on my live stream here. may possibly pick it up for the later game. If so, we want to do more games throughout the World Cup. So, yes, thank you very much for those who are going to watch, who may have joined. Appreciate it very, very much. Expect to see more. Have a great day, guys.